Hi, thanks for joining us today. I,
Hello.
I'm here with Dr. Greifenhagen. Please forgive me if I pronounced that incorrectly. My German isn't so strong, but he is a professor of religious studies at Luther College, and he is here today to talk to us a little bit more about his research interests, classes at Luther, and just his passions in the field of religious studies. So thanks again for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Nice to talk to you.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your role at Luther College?
So I'm a professor of religious studies, as you've mentioned. I've been teaching at Luther College quite a long time. It's been over 25 years. I've also had some administrative posts in that time. I was assistant dean for some time, and most recently for 6 years, I was the academic dean. But I'm back to what I really love to do the most, which is to teach in the field of religious studies and to do my research in my areas of specialty.
So can you tell us about the courses that you teach at Luther?
Yes, so like all the faculty members in the program of religious studies, we all teach our introduction course, Religious Studies 100, which is an introduction to how you approach religion or religions from an academic perspective, as well as being a very quick overview of all the major world faiths or traditions in the world, which so it's a bit quite a bit in that one. But then beyond that, I teach courses in my my areas of specialty. So on the one hand, I have a specialty in the study of the Hebrew Bible, or as it's known as the Old Testament. So I do teach an introduction to the Hebrew Bible fairly regularly. And then my other area in which I teach quite a few courses is in the study of Islam, or the study of Muslim communities. And so I teach a course, Introduction to Islam, as well as a course in Islam in the Modern World. I teach a course on reading the Quran in English. So those are in those two specialty areas. And occasionally I teach courses that are sort of more general thematic or topical courses in religion. Most recently, I taught a course on religion and health, which I hope to teach in the near future very soon again.
Nice. That's a wide array of classes. So it just goes to show the broad areas that you cover, even just within one area of research and specialization, right? So that's pretty
Yep.
great. Lots of options there for students. So why would you encourage a student to study a course in religious studies?
Well, contrary to what social scientists had predicted in the past, that religion would kind of slowly disappear and die off, that it hasn't happened. In fact, as our world has, in the last 25 years, our world's become far more interconnected, and our reality has become far more diverse, even in Canada and even in, locally in the province and in the city. That it becomes, we've seen much more of a manifestation of many different religions, and so religion is really a factor that you need to be aware of and be prepared to deal with in order for you to function, survive, and flourish in today's world, and to be able to have some skill and some knowledge in dealing with things that are connected with religion or different religions. So it's a great to take religious studies courses, or at least one course in religious studies. It will really help in terms of your future endeavors, I think.
Yeah, I think like in any career path that a student would take, you're always going to find different people, and a key skill to have when you're career hunting or in the workplace is to be able to communicate and understand and relate to people. So when you have a broad understanding of things like how religion plays into their lives, I think that's crucial.
That's absolutely right. And it's actually also very helpful for your personal life as well, because you're very likely going to have friends, acquaintances, maybe even your partner coming from, a different place that you're not really used to, and religion may be a part of that. And so I think it's very useful on that level too. And even for your own sense of making meaning out of your life. Religions have traditionally been a big source, and so the courses in religious studies also access that.
Absolutely. And what motivates you the most in your research? Spending countless hours reading, writing, those types of
Yeah. Well,
tasks.
it's curiosity, really. I mean, religion as a whole, or religions in the plural, are just like really powerful. At least, they can inspire everything from really heinous, violent actions to the most extraordinary, altruistic acts of giving and sacrifice. It's just amazing. And of course, in between that, for most people, religion is just a way of surviving in this world. And how does that happen? Where does that come from? And what are all the different forms of that? And how are they related? And are there any patterns to this? And how is this very dynamic reality something that can be um, helpful in human flourishing rather than detrimental? Because it can, religion is one of those things that can be put to work in both positive and negative ways. So that really motivates me. There's a curiosity, but also a real sense of benefit and avoiding harm that
Mhm.
motivates me.
Yeah, that true educational component. Like the more you understand, the more you can.
That's right. The
Yeah,
more you know what else there is to learn.
exactly. Oh, well, thanks for sharing that. And what would you say is the most challenging aspect of your research or your work, maybe as a professor, or again, that research
Yeah.
component, but what would you say challenges you?
Well, I think there are so many misconceptions. That's the thing. Sometimes there are misconceptions about religion more generally, such as religion is a bunch of stupid superstition that no rational person would be part of, and so our task is to stamp it out or to marginalize it so it's not visible. Or on the other hand, the misconception that all religions really are basically the same if you get down to it, or which just kind of obliterates very important differences that are important in people's identities. So
Hmm.
these kind of misconceptions about particular religious traditions, such as all Muslims are terrorists, all Buddhists are peace-loving, etc. These are the things that are challenging to overcome because they're deeply rooted. So all my work, especially the educational work, really the phrase that encompasses it is fostering religious literacy. That's really what I see myself as doing, and that that is a way, there are several assumptions behind religious literacy. One is that religions are very diverse, both externally and internally. Secondly, that they're not static, they change, they have a history. And thirdly, that they have fuzzy boundaries. They overlap with a lot of cultural other things in the world. It's not a simple matter of just, relegating them to the private sphere as we try to do legally. So dealing with those, that's very challenging to do, to deal with those, but it's very rewarding because the light turns on for a lot of people, and they tend to see more beyond their kind of biases, and to learn to respect the place from which people other than themselves are coming from. And that's really important for to be able to do that in order to live in this kind of fragmented and polarized world. So
Hmm. I think particularly in a post 9/11 world, and then the increase in immigration and the changes in our city and our province, like you said, I think it's more important than ever that we have the religious literacy, the understanding,
that's right.
and just the ability to relate and understand people. I think that's
Yeah. If I could just say one thing about one of the areas of research I'm involved in,
Mhm.
is, how, I mean, a big area of research generally is how has computer technology and the digital technology and the internet changed things for us, right? We're really experiencing this with the pandemic now and doing everything online. including this interview.
Yes.
But how does it change people's religious outlook, their worldviews, and their practices? And so I'm involved in a Canada-wide research project. We're in the stage of now having done all our interviews of trying to synthesize the research, and it's with young Muslims in Canada, and how has the use of the internet transformed or changed or not how they believe, how they practice, how does the online world interact with the off-life world, and so on. So it's very exciting.
Very exciting, interesting research for sure. So would you have any final tips or words of advice that you might want to share for a new student in general, for a student who's considering to study a course in religious studies?
Sure. You know, to survive and even better to flourish in this world, you really, as a student, you need to, it's not a matter of just, you know, getting a whole bunch of content into your head, because you can always look that up and you'll forget it anyways. But really, one of the important things that you need to do is to develop your social and emotional skills. And courses in religious studies, courses in the humanities, in particular liberal arts more generally, but I'd say especially in religious studies, are not only fascinating, they don't only allow you to explore, you know, some really interesting information, but they also give you a good grounding in certain skills such as critical thinking, such as communication, and such as cultural competence. So that's the kind of thing that'll be happening as you do a course in religious studies, and that'll be not only useful to you, but it'll be really fun and exciting as well.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and it's so great to understand a little bit more in depth, like how the research is not just studying texts from the past, but it's very relevant in today's world, and things like how technology affects religion. It kind of takes that maybe perception that religious studies is just all about studying ancient texts, right?
Yeah.
Much more to that, and yeah, it's great. It's a great opportunity for students to
No,
learn.
I love studying ancient texts too, but they are it's only in terms of how they're relevant today. You're absolutely right. So thanks for
Exactly.
the opportunity to kind of explain a little bit of what our perspective in religious studies is like. So
Great. And if any students want to learn more about Dr. Greifenhagen's research or learn how to contact him, you can visit the faculty page on our website. Thanks so much
yes,
again.
thank you.